it comes down to making an impact on the community or where I am and helping people, whether that be bringing them up like we just spoke about, if someone's down, helping them, whatever the case may be, those would be the two things that I plan to have in my future for sure.
Hello and welcome to Along the Way Life's Journey. I'm your host, Carl Buccellato. I have with me today a young man that I just find fantastic. I was fortunate enough to have lunch with him and his dad a few months ago. It was supposed to be a business meeting, so it was primarily for the dad and I. But I was so taken by this young man, who to me is an example of what American youth should be. A remarkable young man. His name is Ben Kraus. He's a student. He's an athlete. He's a star athlete. He's graduated magna cum laude from his class, so he's a star student. But more important than that, he's a generally nice guy. He's easy to talk to. He believes in himself. He believes in this country. So please welcome Ben. How are you this morning, Ben?
Good. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you on. We're going to chat a little bit about your various activities, and you are a star goalie. That to me, that is an amazing thing. And I'm going to ask you some questions about that in a moment. Why you would choose to stand there all alone to protect the net from a projectile going 90 or 100 miles an hour at you. When a car comes at me at 10 miles an hour, I jump out of the way, but you stand right in front of it. That's remarkable. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Ben. Give us a little background so people will come to know who you are.
Yeah, I'm 23 years old, born and raised in Cranberry, New Jersey, which is right outside of Princeton. And growing up, I've traveled the world really for my love of the game of hockey. I lived in all different locations from New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Michigan, Arizona, kind of really moved all over for hockey, and just trying to find my passion and live up my dream of playing in the National Hockey League.
Well, we wish you make it. We really do wish you make it because, you're the kind of example to American youth that should be made elevated in view, and being in a National Hockey League would do that because speaking with you and knowing you the way I've known you just briefly, I know that you're a young man of faith. You're a young man of discipline and dedication. You worked very hard to be where you are today. It didn't just come by accident. You are a person who is diligent about improving yourself and your game and your future. And I think that's wonderful. I know that you have a full health, fitness, and exercise regimen that you do on a regular basis. You don't need anyone whipping you on to do it. It's because it's your future and you want it to be great. So tell us a little bit about how did you come to decide the goalie position was the position for you? Because as I said a moment ago, that would terrify me. So how did you come to choose that?
Yeah, actually, initially playing hockey, started from a very young age, skating right away, probably 3 or 4, right when I could start walking. And I played defenseman for a couple of years growing up. And it was an opportunity that I had. They needed a goalie. We had 2 goalies get injured on our team when I was really young. And they looked around the room and they said, who wanted to try it? So I figured, put my hand up, said I would give it a try, and really never look back. Just enjoy. I mean, really the whole position is really unique. You're a part of a team, but you're kind of secluded to one area of the ice. You can't go over the center ice line.
Right.
And you're kind of alone back there for whether that be your own thoughts, your own play. It's a really unique position that I enjoy.
And you're an independent. You got to think very quickly on your feet. Yeah, I imagine you have to have great eye-to-hand coordination. I mean, as I said a moment, and I'm assuming I'm correct. Those pucks can travel 90 to 100 miles an hour, don't they?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a ton of eye coordination, mental strength, flexibility. It's a bunch of different characteristics you have to put together to be a goaltender.
Marvelous. Marvelous. Okay, so if I were to ask you a question, Who or what in your life would you say was a motivating moment or a motivating person that said to you, you can be more than you are today. You can be something else. You can be bigger than you are today. Did you ever have such an incident?
That's a good question. I would say, I mean, I definitely get my drive, motivation, inspiration to be great from my parents. That's for sure. They've sacrificed a ton to let me live out my dream, whether that be my parents moving with me to Buffalo, New York for high school, or Iowa, Nebraska, or Sioux City, Iowa for junior hockey, which my mom both did. So they've been a huge inspiration in my life. Um, it's tough to pick one moment where it was like, wow, a wow factor. But I
Yeah.
mean, every weekend growing up when I was 14, 15, my dad would drive me from New Jersey to Michigan every weekend. So
Every
that's
weekend.
every weekend there and back. Throughout the night he would drive. So, I mean, I would say my parents, it's tough to pick one moment, but they've made huge sacrifices to be where I am today.
I count people like that as American heroes. I really do. Too many times you hear about people who have their own careers in mind and they're upward motion and they fight hard, to succeed in life. And along the way, their children get not quite second best, but they don't get their fullest. But it sounds like your parents were not those kind of people at all. I know your dad is not that kind of man. He's very successful. He's very highly regarded. And yet he is focused on you and your brother and getting things done for the family because that's who he is. He's a very special guy. You're a fortunate young man to fall under that kind of a shadow. But I think you're casting your own shadow. I think you're the kind of guy that's going to leave your own legacy in life and drive hard to be successful and to leave an example to the world. So let's talk a little bit about when you decided that well you were in academics. You as I said a moment ago, I know from the notes you graduated magna cum laude. You were you're into uh, law and into finances and into real estate. You're into all these things, which is quite a mixture of specialties, and it goes from one end of the spectrum to the other. It's like a big pendulum swinging back and forth from sports to academics. And so, how did you get so driven to all those different things? You must be a man that has many, many pleasures and likes.
Yeah. I mean, definitely from a young age, I was instilled that academics are just as important, if not more important than sports, whether that be whatever sport I was playing at the time, your academics came first. So you would do your homework before you went to the hockey rink or you went to go swim or did karate. That was instilled in me in a very young age, which I think helped a lot. And then as far as my passions go, they are very broad for sure. And I think um, just the more you can dive your head into, learn different things about, the more well-rounded you can become as an individual. And I found definitely a passion in real estate. Haven't had time to do yet, but just gathering knowledge as of now to in the future, hopefully do many deals. And obviously finance is a part of that. And the law is a huge part of that as well. So I think they all kind of come together in real estate.
Absolutely. I was in the real estate business in one end or another for 40 years, and I know I was a real estate broker. I was an agent. I was involved very deeply in the home warranty business. I was involved in the relocation business. I was involved in the the making and making available financing for people who couldn't quite get it on their own, making mortgage monies available, and then creating a large online presence with a company that ended up being a mortgage platform that had 47% of all the mortgage business in America walk through it. Can you imagine the size of the scope of something like that? It was
That's incredible.
enormous. But
Yeah.
we did it because we had teams of people like you, young men with vision and drive, excitement and passion to make things happen. I was a co-founder and involved with the original concept, and I was one of the old stodgies that looked at it in the old tried and tradition format of this size. And when we hired young guys like you, they said, "Wait a minute, open that banner up, look at it this way," and it revolutionized the industry. created a
Yeah,
marvelous company at the same time. And I suspect you think that way also. I think you're a big thinker. I think you're a young man who has ambitions and goals to be lofty in this world and to leave a message for others. So, if you were to tell me a little, I saw a little something here in my researches told me, and I know that you're a very modest man, so you may not like the idea that I'm talking about this online, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. It's not a gotcha question, it's a soft one. You're up for an award called the Hobie Baker Award, which is a very prestigious award for hockey, isn't it? Matter of fact, he
definitely.
was an American hero and probably the first American hockey hero of his time. And you're up for that award now, aren't you?
I am.
Tell us a
Yeah,
little
it's
bit
been a
about it.
yeah. It's definitely an honor to be recognized. I mean, it goes to the top ice hockey player in NCAA hockey for men, and just being recognized with so many great other athletes that are a part of the recognition is it's just an honor, truly. So much support from yourself, people in the North Country here, where I am at St. Lawrence, and back at home and really across the world. Everyone's been just supportive of me, and I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to be honored for that.
And ladies and gentlemen, as you're watching this, we're going to have contact information for Ben and how you can reach him in the show notes so you don't have to write it down now. But one of the things I'm going to put in there is the link to the site where you can vote for him because somebody gave me that link at one of my researches and I did it. And I was so proud to see him there and his background information. You can get online and vote for him to support him. So I'm going to ask you to do that. That's your $47 that you're paying to see this show, which doesn't exist. But you go and give a vote for Ben instead. How about that, Ben? Is that all right?
That'd be great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, so tell us uh, a little bit about being involved in teams and getting to the position where I know recently you were a goalie against uh, 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 Harvard University and Princeton University, and you broke a long-standing record, didn't you? I mean, they were 57 years they didn't get shut out, but you shut them out, didn't you? Where they didn't get a goal off you.
Yeah, that was, I mean, obviously great games, fun weekend, but I definitely don't take all the credit for that. Like you said, we're in a team atmosphere, a team sport, and
Yeah.
there's five other guys out there competing, battling alongside with me. So I give a lot of credit to our team. The way they played, they really gave me shots from the perimeter, let me see the puck well, and I just try to do my job and help the team get the win.
Of course, we're all in a team when we gather together and we unify to do something. But they're not the ones that had that puck driving at their head at 90 miles an hour. You were, and you stopped it. I still find that amazing. I do. I find that amazing. You know, I just love the idea. You know, when I was a youth, I didn't play much hockey because I grew up in New York City. There wasn't much ice to do anything like that. You know, but I played baseball and I was a first baseman. And I can't tell you how many times a line drive would be driven at my head, and I'd get that glove in front just in a second. But they weren't moving at the speed you're talking about. You know, we were young people. It was a whole different
Yeah.
thing. So, uh, tell us a little bit about if you're surrounded by young people at university level and you're surrounded by young people in the sports, and I would imagine most of your buddies are people of excellence because they aspire to be bigger and better. But you must see some of the things going on in the news and the campuses of America, and you must see some of the things going on with youth who seem to have been misguided or traveled in a wrong direction. And I'm sure you have some opinions on that. Good or bad, it's up to you. You can say it or not say it. I leave that up to you. What do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely a pivotal time for our country. Um, I think we definitely have to take strategies to get back in the right direction. I think we're veering off a little bit. Would be an understatement for sure. I think it's definitely our generation that we have to make a change, have a
Right.
voice, make a change, be willing to have a conversation. If someone's out of line, tell them, here's how to do the right thing. Here's how to be a good person. Here's how to lead the right way. I think those conversations will be huge for our generation to get everyone back on track, being good people and living the right way.
I agree with you. I think that's the only way we change the world. One man reaching a hand to another and having an honest discussion. And when you hear somebody that's off the track, have a gentle conversation, but a conversation nonetheless to guide them back. I think I'm an old stodgy. What do I know? There are two things in my life that I know are absolutes. The things that I will stand up for in my life, my country and my God. Those are the things that are important to me. And I will never back down from it. And I think that we have an obligation to your generation and your generation to the next generation to bring back values and rules that have been in place for the last few hundred years that made this nation so great. Somehow they seem to have gotten lost. People seem to rob the real values of things, and they need people to, we all need people to stand up and speak out and tell America and tell people around the world that this is our country and it stands for value and it stands for honor and it stands for God. It stands under God because it's been created by God. And so if we don't say it, no one will hear it. I go on these shows all the time and I find young people who are willing to speak out their mind and say what has to. I was on a show just recently that I filmed with my brother Joe, who's my kid brother. He's only 79 years old. He's my baby brother. And he's a chaplain for the American Legion and the Veterans Administration. And he got on the show and he let it rip. He stood there and he let it rip. He says, I'm a chaplain. I love everybody. I don't hate anybody, but I am disappointed in you. And I think sometimes that's what we have to do. We have to stand up and say, I don't care if you think poorly of me. This is who I am. And this is what I stand for. And I encourage you to do those things in life because they will carry you very far. I know that. So,
Thank you.
what are your ambitions once you get past the university and the hockey leagues? Because hopefully you will get into the National Hockey League, and then that's a period of time. But you've taken all this time to reinforce yourself scholastically. So you have ambitions beyond that. You said a moment ago, real estate. What else is in the back of that beautiful mind of yours? Where do you want to see yourself helping to come forward and change the world your way?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it really comes down for me to helping people and making a positive impact wherever I am. I find it hard to have an exact like future that far out for myself. Obviously, you have like a general plan that you want to be in the real estate
True.
community. Um, it's tough for me to have an exact plan, but really, no matter where I've been so far and where I plan to be, it comes down to making an impact on the community or where I am and helping people, whether that be bringing them up, like we just spoke about, if someone's down, helping them, whatever the case may be, those would be the two things that I plan to have in my future for sure.
I would think that you would. And I would think that you're the kind of guy that would form up some kind of a hockey league for kids and teach them the right way and the wrong way to do it. You know,
Absolutely.
the
Yeah,
Pop
most definitely.
Warren League for Ben Kraus. Pop Warren was the baseball. You'll form your own for hockey. Well, I guess
Yeah.
there may
Love it.
be one already. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, so what are your plans this summer? What are you going to be doing?
Definitely a lot of traveling. Not for vacation. It's
No.
more what I call work, um, just trying to get better in my craft, really. I go to a lot of different places to train with great people. I'll be in Colorado to train altitude for a couple weeks. I will be in Ohio training with the goalie coach out there. British Columbia will be another spot I will be traveling to, training off ice with the workout coach there. And obviously I have a goalie coach back home in New Jersey that I train with as well. So bunch of traveling, and hopefully get some good away time too at our lake home we have, which would be a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
that's great. You need to have rest time and away time. we all need it. We work hard. We need to have time just for us, just to have come down a little bit and just relax, have some fun with the family, toss a ball
Definitely.
around, go in a canoe, all the kind of things that, put no pressure on you. And we all need that.
Yeah,
Everybody needs that. We're, uh,
absolutely.
we're a certain class of people who are driven for success and ambition and for motivation to change things in the world and so forth. But we have to remember that when you get on an airplane, you know this, you've been on millions of airplanes already. You get on an airplane, the steward says to you, when the oxygen tent comes down, you put it on yourself first. Because if you're not breathing correctly, you can't be good for anybody else. So there comes a time in everybody's career, in everybody's year, that they got to just slow down, put their mask on themselves, relax a little bit, pick up a guitar and strum along, whatever you do, you need to have fun. You need to just let it, what they used to say, let it all hang out. I never figured out what it was, but they used to say that. You just got to be easy. It's got to be easy. And I'm giving you advice as a sage. He's 82 years old. I've had a lot of seasons where I've driven myself hard, and I know there are times you have to stop. You just have to stop.
Yeah.
For me, it's play with my children, now with my grandchildren, my great grandchildren. It's the kind of thing that's essential in our lives. It brings that joy. You see the smile that you have right now? When I said that to you,
Yeah.
you just broke out with a beautiful smile. That's what brings smiles to me, because I I'm a lover of people. I love my life, and I love what God has given to me. I've been through a lot of things in life that I shouldn't even be here any longer. It should have been the kind of thing that was over many times over. But I'm here. And I'm here talking to a wonderful young man who has a bright future, who's an example, can be an example to so many people in this world. And I'm encouraging you, continue on your path. Be the best that you could be. I know that's the Marines, but be the best that you can be, because nobody
Right.
else can be you. You're the only one that can be you. So be the best guy
Yeah.
you can. The world needs you. We all need you. We do. You're the next generation that'll help to take us out of this muck and mire that somehow we got slipped into with all the alligators and the garbage. We need people like you to help lift us out of that. You're an example on the ice. You're an example in your life. And I'm so proud to know you. I really am. And I'm proud to have you on this show. So we're
Thank you.
down to about 2 or 3 minutes. Is there anything you'd like to tell anybody out there? You can give a call out to anyone you like. First of all, I'd like to thank your dad, Jeffrey, who introduced me to you, because I think it was a wonderful experience for me meeting you. And I'm thanking your dad for that. But anything you'd like to tell the rest of the world? Now, remember, no pressure here. This show is going to go out to every English-speaking country in the world. So no pressure. Say whatever you want.
Yeah, no, I'm just grateful for a lot of people in my life that they've helped me along the way. Obviously, first and foremost, my family. Both my parents, my brother have been huge supporters of me throughout my whole career and throughout my whole life. So I'm very, very grateful for them and for people like yourself, supporters, great friends, family. Um, I wouldn't be in the position I am without them as well. So I'm just very grateful for the opportunity to come speak with you today, and thank you for your time. It's been an honor.
Thank you. The honor is mine. It really is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a wonderful young man. As I said, all the information on how to reach him and support him and send him good confidence and courage and prayers, they'll all be in the show notes. But there'll also be a link in there where you can click on to vote for him for the Hobie Baker Award, which he is deserving of. So pick up your finger and transmit a vote. It's as simple as that. So we're going to be closing the show in a moment. And I tell you, as I do every week, we come up with shows like this regularly with marvelous people who tell their stories in life and hopefully motivate other people to become bigger and better than they are themselves. That's the purpose of this show. There are no sponsors on this show. Well, there is a sponsor. My book is the sponsor of this show. I wrote the book. It provides revenue and it sponsors the show. I don't want anybody else because I don't want any slanted political things or any other kind of stuff. I want people to be free to speak and do what they want. So I remind you, if you like the show, click on subscribe, click on like, make a comment if you want. And just if there's somebody that you'd like to recommend to be on the show, please do write in, tell us about it. Tell us your likes and dislikes, your pleasures, recommend people. But more important than that, I know you have your own story. We all have our own story, but no one can tell it like you can. Write it down. Tell it to your family, your friends, your loved ones. Write it down before it's too late, because when it's too late, it's too late. And everything, every bit of wisdom that you've experienced is lost unless you share it with someone else. So be sure to share your story and your message with someone else. And before I leave you, I want to say what I say every week. I know I'm this big blustery guy from Brooklyn. What do I know about life? I know this. Get somebody you know today, get them in a big bear hug, and tell them you love them. Because it may be the only time they hear those words. Let them know God loves them and that you love them. No one can do it but you. Thank you, everybody. I love you, Ben. Thanks for being on this show.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.